Then and now, we got the crown when we rock the town. Hot sound, keep us breaking ground while we chillin' lounge. 3 generations, black nerd soldiers, podcast snipers trying to pop culture. Allegedly, haters try to talk, but a pedigree in rare form.
Hello, everybody.
You're listening to the Then and Now podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Then and Now podcast. I'm your co-host, Captain Diesel, and I'm joined with Professor E, King of the Comics, Ethan Murphy. We are Donna Man. Our brother in arms, Lelouch V, has had some technical difficulties and is out this week. Maybe out next week, just depending on what the situation looks like with a computer. But we doing the old school classic Then and Now episode where it's just me and Ethan, and we're gonna rock out and have some fun there. How are you doing today, Professor E?
I'm doing good, man. I mean, of course. I miss Lelouch V. He's our co-pilot. But this was the original Then and Now. It was referring to us. I am by far the then because I am older than dirt itself, and you are by far the now because you are a young buck with a beard, full beard. My man,
I'm catching up soon. We're getting up there in years, but I mean, it's gonna be then and then at that point, then and before.
It's the Then and Then podcast with the Metamucil.
Oh man,
yeah, exactly. Man,
but I'm good though. I'm good. Been enjoying all this amazing content that's been coming out. You know what? I said it before in a post today on Threads. There is so much amazing content from shows to movies to games to comics. If you can't find anything you like, you're just a miserable human being at this point. I'm not gonna lie to you because it's been amazing. I've been eating.
Yeah, it's wild out there, man. It's so much. And the thing is, there's too like we're spoiled as far as the avenues. Like you said, we have movies and books and games and everything, but it's like the way you can get to it as well. You got to stream it. You can use like obviously online as far as whether you're Twitch or you're using actual Switch console, whatever it might be, to get access all these different things too. We are bizarrely spoiled, guys. The world is tailor made just for us, for blurs and for nerds in general, man. I love it.
Yeah, it's the move. Speaking of things being tailor-made for nerds, there are a couple of shows for us to discuss here. And for people that are watching, we're going to be discussing these shows in a too early fashion. So we won't give straight up spoilers for a lot of this stuff. We're just going to kind of give our thoughts on some of the things that have happened thus far. I'm going to try my best not to spoil everything in detail. And also we'll try to give some speculation on where we think the show may be going by the end of the season. Because at this point now, we are, I think, a little bit over the halfway mark in regards to Invincible. The boys are back in town. They just dropped their first 2 episodes of their show. And then Shadows of Maul has released 2 episodes on Disney Plus. And then we already have Daredevil that is like still ongoing. So there's a lot of stuff from like the Western nerd sphere, and it's not even accounting for any anime stuff. Yeah. I told E let's put the anime on for a future episode because doing all that and all this at the same time would burn me the hell out. But first and foremost, I know you haven't watched too many episodes of any at all of the Shadows of Maul stuff, but I kind of wanted to showcase a quick clip from the pre-production or just like an interview from the show that really showcases why I love these projects so much and what really makes a show really good. It's always the devil in the details, right? When you're discussing how you're going to enjoy something or how much a creator puts into something that they love. So this is a quick little interview, right, of the producer discussing the process of creating the sound of the lightsaber that they have from all in the series.
Ooh, okay.
More extreme.
You actually hear the sound of Sam screaming built into the saber.
Because when people talk about, like, if you listen to some of the Star Wars lore, the idea of sabers like screaming in pain or doing certain things is something that they always talk about in some of the books, the comics, whatever it may be, and even sometimes in the movies and shows and whatnot. Like the whole idea of making a red saber crystals, bleeding the crystal. So the fact you're going into this show where Maul is really like a study into how Maul's operating and the idea of corrupting things. So the fact you have his saber literally be like distorted versions of like the character playing Maul screaming, I thought that was the coolest shit ever. And now I can't unhear that whenever I'm hearing a saber fight within the show.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my God. First off, shout outs to Sam Witwer. That dude is what? I think he's 50 something, pushing 50 at least. And is
he that old?
Yeah, because he's older than me. I'm older than I'm old as dirt, and he was already grown when I was born. So he's got to be like around 50 or so, and he looks clean. I mean, our producer can back up exactly how old his age actually is before I say too much more slander. But he looks, my man, I am a completely straight heterosexual male, but still I recognize game. Game recognizes game. He's looking good. Well done, Mr. Maul yourself. And he's killing it, man. He is killing it. He always has as Darth Maul since way back in the day, as far as, of course, going to the actual Star Wars Clone Wars. And the idea of having his voice, he's a master voice artist, having his voice put in there, having him scream with the saber, beautiful. Because part of the lore with Star Wars is the they put their actual the life force into their sabers, which makes perfect sense. Back in the day when they had Kylo Ren's saber, it was supposed to sound darker when he turned it back on. So it makes perfect sense that of course when Maul uses his saber, you can hear his scream of his pain and turmoil all channeling through it. That's amazing. I love that idea. Also, shout outs to our guest from last week, Zella, talking about doing Foley work. Foley is so important, or sound effects and everything when it comes to making movies and shows is so crucial. It's iconic. So never ever sleep on that, my friends. Never sleep on the sound effects.
Yeah, and Sito put in the chat, he is 48, which again, 48. Crazy he's that old, because buddy, he looks good. He's like, at least for me, he looks like he's in his 30s, damn near. If not at bare minimum, like his mid to late 40s. Well, yeah, probably. He looks close to his age, but he looks good. And then I was going to pull it out here, but going into the show a little bit, there was a comic that released that was like a prequel going into it. Granted, pissed me off because you don't really see Maul at all to like the last page, but it set up a lot of different things with this series. But it seems like they're really doing their due diligence to make sure this series is as well made as possible. The first 2 episodes are pretty cool. You're more so just seeing Maul get to the planet and trying to reclaim a lot of the power that he had before the Empire took over. Because there are people that remembers, if you're looking at the end of the Clone Wars era, Maul assembled not the Shadow Cabinet. It was like the Shadow Order or something of the sort, whatever the name was, where he pretty much unified all the syndicates within the universe at that point, the Pikes and whatnot, and pretty much became like a Shadow Lord of everything around that was going on. And then Sidious, obviously, in killing Savage Opress and taking him down the pit, kind of ended all that. So Maul's back trying to build up his crime empire once again on this planet. And you're seeing him also try to build up a way of taking out Palpatine by getting an apprentice. So we're going to see him try to like corrupt a Jedi at some point throughout this series and whatnot, which again, things you see from trailers. I don't think I'll spoil anything too crazy. But it's going to be dope. And I will say it again with Sam Witwer. He is somebody who loves not just the character Darth Maul, but loves Star Wars as a whole. So the way he goes about saying certain things and the way he goes about in creating some of these moments in these shows, it is so genuine, and you can feel that second level of effort in there. And then last thing I'll say about it, which is related but tangentially related, apparently there's a lot more conversation ramping about him coming back to play Starkiller in the live action version, or at bare minimum doing some kind of project with Galen Merrick, the character from the Force Unleashed games that he voiced initially.
I hope so. Please, like Lord Almighty, yeah, that was. I know the second game's kind of rough. I get that, but that first game, Force Unleashed, was dope as hell. That was like what? Made no damn sense how good that was. And do you know this better than I do, Dev? Did the comic have Starkiller first? Or did the comic originally? Did he come in? Did he appear in the comic, the Darth Vader comic, after the games?
The comic was based off the game, so he had his own. It may be in here somewhere. I have the trade that has the Force Unleashed comic in it, and that was based off the game. Like he was a game character first and foremost.
So I mean, that's how good it was.
To my knowledge.
Yeah, because the comic is dope. I've seen the Darth Vader game. I'm sorry, Darth Vader comics, and that's how good it was. It inspired that.
Well, I don't know if he was in the Vader comic. I think he had his own, like they did like a game adaptation comic where it was like retelling a lot of the story from the game, but also added in a few new tidbits here and there.
I see.
That's what I got when I was growing up, at least. I don't know if he was ever in a Vader comic specifically, so he was never in the official canon.
I see, because the Vader comic, it's crazy good. Yeah, for those who don't know. But I do know also, as far as you mentioned, that Witwer himself is an OG. He knows all kinds about Star Wars. If you get a chance, y'all, hit up. It was from a few years back, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. But he was in was called a Schmodown, which is a movie trivia Schmodown where they have experts in movie trivia, kind of like the same style like Jeopardy, what have you. But they had a lightning round where it was him versus it was like him and another partner that are Star Wars experts going up against other Star Wars experts. And Sam Witwer was able to scroll off so much information and able to get like 40 questions answered in like 5 minutes as far about Star Wars. Like he knows his shit forward and backwards about Star Wars. He's a hardcore fan of Star Wars. It's crazy. Him and Filoni, they're like the experts when it comes to Star Wars, actually work in Star Wars. So it's wild to watch him work in it.
Yeah, and talking about Filoni again, Filoni don't miss because this is yet another Star Wars project that, at least in my opinion, I think it's got a lot of positive reception. I think it's going to do really well in regards to viewership. Matter of fact, I think it may be. I thought about it. Is it like the most watched thing on Disney Plus at the moment? Editor Seems like maybe you can fact check me on that one, but I know it's like people have been really positively receptive to this series so far in the first 2 episodes of it.
Well, because they didn't miss.
Because
like what was the most highly rated Star Wars thing in the last decade was the end of Clone Wars, that 4-part series with him and Ahsoka and everything. It was the highest rated thing, I know for a fact. So yeah, there's still a lot of momentum behind that. People do trust that actual brand, Clone Wars itself, or Filoni, that brand is still intact.
And it also gives me hope that we'll see Maul again in live action, just based on the fact that now Filoni is like the president of not Lucasfilm, but oh my god, of Star Wars as a whole. He's like a creative director, and then I'm blanking on the woman's name who's brought in to be more on the financial side of things. So they were able to kind of break things up into where he's able to just focus on the creative aspects of it, and she's running all the financials and whatever. They broke up Captain Kennedy's role into 2 essentially. And then Editor Cito is giving us like the top 5 things in regards to trending on Disney Plus right now, and Darth Maul is number 1. Second is Testament. Third is Daredevil. Fourth, Paradise, and Grey's Anatomy is still hanging in there.
That's been around. That's literally older than you, isn't it? Isn't Grey's Anatomy older than you, Deb?
Probably.
Close to it.
More than likely.
Yeah. Daredevil was number 3. Daredevil was number 3. Yeah.
But we'll get into that here in a second too when it comes to Daredevil. But yeah, Maul's been great so far. Please, y'all, check it out. And again, if you're a Star Wars fan, I think you'll love it. Even if you're like more of a casual Star Wars fan, I do think this is a cool jumping on point because you don't need to have watched a million different things beforehand to understand what's going on in the show. In my personal opinion, and a lot of the stuff that you aren't aware of, they kind of fill you in on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about
honestly,
because does it have? I mean, not getting too heavy into spoilers, but does it have like characters from other parts of Star Wars that you kind of have to like you be kind of so lost if you hadn't seen?
No, as of now, it's really just like some of the more niche characters that were a part of his cabinet when he was ruling Mandalore. So like you have a couple Mandalorians that are still rocking with them. You have some of the Zobrix that are from Dathomir, that like some of his brothers that are still rocking with him.
Oh, right.
And that's about it. Like they mention other like the Empire as a whole, but the way the show is working so that Vader isn't like straight up coming to come take him out, is that the police on this planet aren't alerting the Empire that Maul's there because they don't want the planet to get locked down by the Empire and get kind of like basically made it to like a prison state essentially. So they're kind of trying to handle things in house. And then yes, I do know Inquisitors to pop up at some point in the show. They haven't come up in the first 2 episodes yet.
Okay.
It's been a lot more establishing Maul in these first 2 episodes.
Yeah, because if we're going in order from the shows, what was it? Star Wars Rebels. Star Wars Rebels takes place after this. Because he gets capped in Rebels by Obi-Wan. So the Inquisitors show up. When did the Inquisitors first show up, though? Because they show up, I know they're in Rebels.
The Inquisitors are made like literally right after the Empire is founded. So they were again, granted, I'm not sure how much is still canon in regards to the sequel trilogy stuff with Rey, as well as some of the comics that were made up after the fact, where they looked at like the Knights of Ren. Yeah. But I do know, really early on into Vader's tenure, he developed the Inquisitors and brought them out to go hunt Jedi and whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think I had heard that. Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, you see, this is between episodes 3 and 4. So it was like right after the rise of the Empire.
Okay.
So and also I'm curious to see which Inquisitors we see. If we're going to see any Inquisitors from the Rebel show or from whatever else it may be, like the Grand Imperial Inquisitor.
Okay, that's dope, man. Yeah, I'm so sorry I forgot to check it out. It's got so much crap going on. But yeah.
No, you're good, man. It's good. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. And again, if you're a casual fan, I think you'll enjoy it as well. So far for me, like smooth, like 8.5, maybe like 9 out of 10 so far.
Okay.
Animation is still peak, as you would expect if you're a fan of the Clone Wars series. It's that plus a little bit of extra money. It feels like you're just getting better over time. So again, shout out to Filoni, shout out to Sam Witwer and the rest of the creative team.
Yeah.
Moving into something that we both have seen already, that you could probably speak more to. We spoke to it earlier, that being the blind ginger himself and Matt Murdock in Daredevil Born Again season 2. What have you heard and seen in regards to speculation in regards to what's going to happen in the series?
So I mean, the biggest thing that is bizarrely enough, what it seems like they're advertising the most is Punisher more so than anything else. And I don't know.
Oh, so you don't know?
No, I don't know. Because I know
Okay.
obviously that it's trying to focus more on, because the first season, I told you before how the first season it was like it felt very disjointed because it was made by two different teams. So I had very, very low expectations for the second season. But from what I understand, season 2 is much, much better than season 1. Is that correct?
I'd say so. I think the action set pieces are a little bit better choreographed. I think they play into characters like Bullseye a lot more. Bullseye definitely feels like a lot more of an established Daredevil villain in this series, not just like a side weapon for Kingpin to use. He's his own character, with his own motivations and things of that nature. You can feel the crazy in him. If you read the comics, like you can tell Bullseye is crazy as fuck. And
he is a villain because he was kind of a weird, like almost anti-hero.
Funny enough, they're trying to. It's one of those things to where he's doing things that people would probably morally agree with in regards to him trying to take out the Kingpin. But the way he's going about doing everything is obviously in a very a villainous nature in regards to this mass murder.
Okay.
But he's fun in regards to the aspect of like kind of in the same vein that what made Colin Farrell's Bullseye fun from the Daredevil movie. The fact that he's using things like fucking paper clips and other random shit and just throwing shit and just like he's literally taking forks and spoons and bouncing them off the ground and fucking stabbing people with it. It's hilarious. It's fun. It's all the best things of that Daredevil movie and for the most part, none of the bad things in my opinion. I love this version of Bullseye.
Okay.
Granted, you don't have the rattlesnake sound with a little cape, but I can go without that, I guess.
that was the most baller drip. And you give me a hard time to say drip or fit, but that was in that old school dumb movie with Ben Affleck and Colin Farrell. I love that look for Bullseye as far as having the scar on his head and that baller jacket. That was dope, man. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Okay.
Now the next thing that I have to ask you with in regards to this, because if you haven't seen it. I'm trying to find a picture of it here. There was a lot of stuff that was leaked in regards to what's coming up next in regards to Daredevil Born Again. And because there was like a mid-season trailer that it finally showed Jessica Jones in regards to what was going to happen with her. And she says something very, very specific in regards to where the show's going to go. But it's also going to lead to the Defenders making their return, because what we have here, let me show this on screen, is the worst kept secret in Hollywood. And that is them on the set of the film where you have, obviously Finn is here in this cloak, which I don't know what is supposed to hide when your whole face is out of it. Yeah. And then they're trying to hide my boy here in the back. My boy Mike Coulter is. You already know me. I've been advocating for bringing my boy back as Luke Cage because although there are other great actors, I just couldn't imagine anybody else being him right now. Yeah, so again, he's trying to hide the hood, but it's very apparent that he's back. Finn is back. So we're getting the full Defenders back into and they're going to probably make their appearance in Daredevil. But the big thing that I wanted to speak about that Christian Ritter's Jessica Jones brought up in the trailer was that she was at home with her daughter when I almost call them ICE, but they're pretty much ICE. The Kingpin's paramilitary force raided their home looking for her, which means that we have confirmation that Danielle Cage exists. Right. For people that aren't comic book aficionados, Danielle Cage obviously is the daughter of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, and she's dope as fuck because she essentially has both of their abilities combined. And at some point in the future, we're gonna just like a spin-off universe at one point in comics, but she was Captain America. Like she was the Shield essentially. She was a newer Captain America, and it's a dope ass character because essentially she has a shield but don't need it because she's literally fucking Luke Cage and Jessica Jones combined, which probably, in my opinion, makes her one of my more favorite iterations of Cap outside of Sam Wilson's Captain America. So,
yeah, how old was she when they showed her in the preview?
So they haven't showed her yet in the show, but most of what we've seen of her outside of like that future comic where she was Cap, she's like maybe like 4, 5, like really, really young child. So and honestly, looking at the timeline of things, that they're going to make a good bit of stuff from the Netflix show's canon. if this only takes place maybe like a year or a couple months, maybe a couple years after the end of the Daredevil show, like we're Born Again, she's probably going to be around that same age. And I'm curious as to what the storyline is going to be, because I'm honestly feel like it's going to be one of those situations where she hasn't told Luke that she was pregnant.
It's possible.
Because remember they got coffee together that one random night in the Jessica Jones show, and I know at the end of Luke's whole thing, at the end of the Luke Cage show, it was him being more of the kingpin of Harlem, trying to fill in for that spot, understanding that with Rattles, what was it, not Rattlesnake? I forgot I forgot what Marshall Ali's character's name was. Yeah, with him being gone, there's a power gap in Harlem, and he wanted to just go ahead and fill that gap to make sure that that no other negative or evil entity would take on that power gap. So he had his own stuff going on. She had her own stuff going on. So I feel like that'd be a dope way to like tee up drama they have in like maybe a combined series or another Luke Cage series of them figuring out how to be co-parents, maybe eventually exploring that romance, because there is a Jessica Jones comic out now that's exploring like their difficulties of them being married or whatever, maybe with him being mayor, and that could be another thing they explore with Luke Cage being mayor soon, because we know Fisk is kind of, I feel like by the end of this season, going to be more so outed for being the evil mayor that he is. So we'll see where they set things up to. I do think they're going to set up for like Devil's Reign or Shadowland with Daredevil or whatever it may be. And then Finn, especially as Iron Fist, is going to be a lot of complicated stuff, because technically he's not the Iron Fist at the end of the Iron Fist series. It's Colleen Wing. So I don't know how they're going to have him maneuver.
He's not in the comic books now too. Isn't he not Iron Fist either? Isn't he?
Right now, Swordmaster, I think, is the Iron Fist right now. Which is yeah. Well, yeah. I think he, I don't know. I'm not up to date on the Iron Fist comics right now.
They're not necessarily adhering to that canon, but it would be dope to see, because they were back in the day. They had their daughter for a while, so it's cool to see their daughter actually around if that's the idea. One thing I want to say real quick, as far as like Mike Coulter, a few months ago, he was on that podcast with your boy Michael Rosenbaum, the Inside of podcast, where he was talking about how he wanted to come back. I guess he already knew then. He's
a horrible liar. He's a horrible liar.
But he was pretty much saying how he would happily come back. He would happily want to do stuff with Marvel and everything else. It was a weird situation they were in before. But that was, you know how many years ago Luke Cage was? That was a while ago, man. That was a minute. They lucky black don't crack. Look looks even better than before. So it's kind of like it's wild. So it's cool to see him back. I mean, yeah, everyone knows I wasn't the biggest fan of Iron Fist, but I did like Jessica Jones, and I really like Luke Cage, obviously too. I love Daredevil. So it'd be cool to see the Defenders, even with, I mean, if they had Colleen Wing, because I do like Colleen Wing a lot. If they have her in the show as opposed to having Iron Fist, having Finn in there instead, I'd be very happy. I'd be very happy to have that, man.
I mean, he's in it. Like he's like standing right next to Mike, so he's in it. And I do remember in the final season of the show, like, although he didn't have the Iron Fist, he had like the iron, like some other immortal weapons, like guns that were. Again, I'm not super knowledgeable on Iron Fist comic history, so I know there's some stuff going on there in regards to the they were teeing up for the Immortal Tournament or the Iron. Not the Iron Fist tournament. I think it's the Heavenly Cities tournament, where they essentially get together all the different versions of the Iron Fist from different Heavenly Cities to do like a Mortal Kombat style tournament. Okay. And they were teeing up for that at the end of the Iron Fist series before things got canceled. So maybe they go back into that. I don't know. And we'll see. And honestly, to your point, with Finn, I would like to see him with a good script, because I will give him the grace of like the dialogue and the writing for that Iron Fist show was dog awful. Yeah. But the choreography was okay. And I think a lot of that, I think he has the Hayden Christensen effect, where you give him a bad script that he just looks like a horrible actor, but then you bring him back like 10 years, 20 years later with a decent writer and a decent director. Now everybody's in love with him as the character and whatever it may be. And no one can never imagine him as not being the character. So I'll give him that. I'll give him this second chance to be like, okay, we know that the Daredevil Born Again team is at bare minimum really good writers based off of what we've seen in the first season and thus far in the second season. If he can give us good delivery on stuff, I'm cool with it. I ain't tripping.
That's fair. I mean, they're essentially the Hayden Christensen effect. That's fair. Because it was Danny Rand was the character's name, was better in the Defenders than he was actually in his show, and that it was a weird thing. So it may be now, because as a producer pointed out, Luke Cage season 1 came out in 2016. Is that right? Oh my God. You were literally, it's half your age almost, Soups. So
I was in high school. I was a sophomore in high school.
You're a baby, itty bitty baby. I was only 68 years old at that time. But yeah, it just imagine. So if with 10 years, kind of added on there, and all the time added, of course, for Iron Fist and everything else. When they come back, they could be more seasoned a bit. It could be more. It could work. It could definitely work. So if it, and also I want it to be good. I don't want it to crash and burn. I want it to be good TV. So I'm here for it. But I
for people that are
daughter, because the daughter I have from the daughter in the comic books from a while ago. She was awesome. Yeah.
I'm just excited to see the dynamic between him and her, as far as Luke and Jessica Jones. I do think, looking at what her arc was, I was curious as where they're going to take her. But her being a mother, as much as a mess as she was at the end of her series, I think that's a good logical step for the character to kind of figure out how to be a mother while being a mess, and also maybe trying to figure out what Luke means to her and what they mean to each other at that point. Yeah. I think that could be some really dope writing there. Honestly, I feel like if they bring back a Misty Knight in this, or they bring back Rosario Dawson as a night nurse at some point, that could also be some fun dialogues, because I think Luke was being a little slut and getting coffee with everybody around town. He was getting coffee with everybody.
Man whore everywhere. God, Luke. But yeah. Do you think? Let me ask you this question, the personal question. Do you think they'll ever give Jessica Jones her that white outfit she wears in the comics, or used to wear, that white,
the Mockingbird thing?
Yeah. And like disco jumpsuit.
I feel like if they ever include her in a big major Marvel project, they'll probably allude to it, but I doubt it. I think it'd be one of those things where it doesn't necessarily fit her character, because I even feel like with most of her comic book existence, she hasn't really had it because it hasn't fit her stuff. Like any of the Alias comics, even now, like her current Alias comic run right now, where she's like solving another mystery, another murder mystery, it didn't really fit her character anymore. I feel like something that bright and flamboyant, in my personal opinion. No. They'll probably allude to it though. Like a show, like she ends up in like Secret Wars or some kind of bigger Avengers. I feel like they're going to end up doing like a bigger Defenders film. Like they're going to try to do the Avengers level budget, but they're going to make it the Defenders, which would be dope, because honestly makes me excited more to see what they get to do in this series, because we already know that the extra Disney budget with this show allows them to do a lot more cool stuff with fight choreography, especially seeing what Daredevil's done so far. I'm excited to see what actual Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and Luke are able to do as far as like showcasing their powers in a show with this much more money for the special effects and whatever it may be. Yeah. But yeah, to answer your question long-windedly, probably not. No, probably not in regards to her white costume.
It wouldn't make sense. Even the heroes for hire for either Iron Fist or Luke. I mean, Luke Cage is basically wearing the same suit, but Danny Rand did wear the full, like, the tie back headband and everything as far as his outfit too. That'd be weird. But anyways, this is a weird thing I was curious about.
Yeah, I don't see these characters for the most part ever wearing the traditional costumes. I don't think it fits. I think the only one it really fits for is Daredevil. I think. Because obviously, Danny, like, we're not about to have the open chest with the fat tattoo on his chest showing. Yeah. Luke Cage, it's easy for him. It's just literally like a t-shirt and some jeans for the most part. Yeah. And then, Jessica, I think she looks the best when she just has her. Because I think I saw an interview where she was discussing the jacket from the original show and how she kept that, and how the the lady for costume design came back and based her new jacket off of the original one that she had from the original show. So it seems like the staple of her character is going to be that black leather jacket for the most part.
It does fit.
In regards to her putting on armor.
Yeah, it fits.
So we'll see.
I'm here for it.
But for people wondering, I'm rambling on about a lot of these extra stuff for the show, mostly because there's not too many bad things to say about this series as a whole. These first couple episodes, I've thoroughly enjoyed. I think they've done a good job of continuing where they left off, and they've had amazing performances by extra actors coming in, like Matthew Lillard, who's been killing it thus far in his role, which I'm still trying to figure out what organization he's connected to. I feel like it's the Hand, but I can't quite say for sure. He's been dope, and all the other additional characters. It's been fun. This has been a really fun season thus far.
Well, so here's the big question, the big $1 million question. There's $2 million questions, I guess. The first one is, do you think, I'm not sure what the timeline was as far as Tarantino popping off, but do you think it possibly helped get Matthew Lillard on the show after Tarantino was saying that bullshit about Matthew Lillard?
I think he already had this way before then, because I'm looking at like what he's been in recently, between him being in this, him being in Scream 7, I think, and then also being in. I didn't know that. Yeah, the most recent one. It was pretty shitty. I ain't gonna hold you.
Didn't he die a lot?
Yes, he was in it, but he wasn't in it. If you catch my drift, you already know what it is. And then he was also in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So he's been in like
Yeah.
3 things like back to back to best. He's been working lately.
He was.
Which good for him because he again icon in horror, icon as an actor as a whole.
Yeah,
so we'll probably get him in more. We'll probably get him in some DC shit at some point because him and Gunnar like this.
Yeah, they are friends outside because they were in. I think they did some movies back in the day. Like, what's that movie he did?
Yeah, Scooby Doo.
They did Scooby Doo, but there's other one too that was Slither.
Slither, I think so. Yeah.
But another thing too, the other question is, of course, the more obvious elephant in the room. Have you seen the trailers now for Spider-Man? Do you think that it seemed that the hands obviously in that movie? Do you think that they're going to tie this show directly into the new Spider-Man movie that's coming up?
Most definitely. Okay. I talked about it before in a prior video. I do think Spider-Man is going to be the linchpin that keeps all the street level heroes together. Because for the most part, we're pretty much reintroducing all these characters to a new audience for the most part. There's a lot of people that watch the older Netflix shows back in the day, but I do think there's a lot of newer fans, a lot of younger fans that aren't aware of who these characters are at all. And you're going to have to reintroduce them and make people care about them. And as much as Daredevil's popular, I don't think he's enough to really get them into the casual sphere where people like talk about them all the time. I think Spider-Man is the one that can really do that because he's around most of these characters all the time and talking with them, especially like a Misty Knight. I think he can be the linchpin for it. And funny enough, I'm pretty confident that Daredevil's in the Spider-Man movie anyway. Probably. We see Punishers in that movie. So we'll probably like see these guys in a cameo maybe. I think by the end of that show, we'll see like the Defenders start up again and Spider-Man being like the introductory piece for that and him being the one introducing a lot of the street tier characters because in my personal opinion, we need more of that. We need more separation in Marvel in regards to the celestial space stuff and things that happen on Earth. Because I think for the longest time, multiversal events and space things have all kind of just been merged into one conglomerate thing. And it's kind of made things muddy in regards to what's going on. And people are always questioning, why the fuck are we not, mentioning this big celestial demon that's hanging out of the Earth right now, which they finally addressed in the Captain America movie. But I think having a bigger separation of a gap of street tier stuff and celestial stuff would be really good, especially with the fact we have so many street tier characters that you can get into between the Young Avengers, with Kate Bishop, Ironheart, Kamala Khan. They showcased Patriot in the Captain America Winter Soldier show. Now you have Danielle Cage. So I don't know how old she'll be, but at some point maybe you bring her to the Young Avengers. I've heard Amadeus Cho reference. So you have a vast variety of young heroes you mentioned that could be on that team, as well as the already like Defenders team that's going to already be here in Luke, Jessica, Danny, Daredevil, and then you still have Punisher like on the loose hanging around. So. And then Moon Knight's still around. And hell, bro, that's a whole different thing of getting into if we ever get a Midnight Suns team with, because we already have Moon Knight and Blade, and then we've already introduced the Ebony Knights. We have 3 members out of the Midnight Suns introduced. Yeah. So there's so many street tier, either street tier mystical or street tier like city crime type of things we can get into. You just need somebody to kind of kick that off. And I think Spider-Man is going to be the one because he usually is bouncing from team to team. Being a kind of like a moral guidance for everybody. He's been on the Midnight Suns. I don't think he's been on the heroes, the Defenders, but I know he's been around most of the Defenders for the most part. And the Runaways, I don't think they count that show as canon for the most part.
Because it was the
freeform show.
It was a Hulu original, but Hulu was part of the Disney whole.
Yeah,
so I think it can be canon. I'm not saying it is, but I
don't think they ever acknowledged. I don't think they ever acknowledged it being canon though. In the same way, like for early on with the Agents of Shield, they didn't consider that canon for a while.
They didn't.
And so like I think earlier on it was canon, and then as the seasons went on, they kind of like put them on the back burner and things weren't canon.
Yeah.
When they started introducing Robbie Reyes as Ghost Rider and stuff like that, they kind of put that in the back burner.
Yeah, because originally they tied it in with Coulson, but then they kind of like. But they said like a different universe and some shit. Yeah.
The only crossover I remember them having is that like the Cloak and Dagger show and the Runaways crossed over in like an episode, but that's only the freeform shows.
Yeah, Cloak and Dagger too. That's actually another street level.
So honestly, they may bring them back. I would love for them to bring back the Runaways. I love that team and I love that comic as well. I did a video on Nico Minoru, and funny enough, we have Nico in the new Spider-Man animated series, and they're alluding to her, being. Yeah, she's in that. She's like his best. She is like his best friend in that show.
Right. Yeah, she is. That's right. The animated series. Yes, she is. That's right. That's right.
That's right. They already alluded to her having her mystical abilities as well. So maybe we'll get like that teed off, and maybe that'll draw more interest in the character to get her in there. We'll see. But I think if we haven't gotten a Young Avengers yet, we're probably not getting the Runaways. The Runaways may be like a far future project. And by that point, I think most of the actors that were playing the Runaway characters, because I think I follow the actors that played Nico Minoru in that show when I did because I did the video about it and posted reel and she reposted the reel or whatever it may be. By the time that show happens, they're gonna be grown, so they're not playing no teenage Runaways at that point.
No, yeah, exactly. That's fair enough. Okay. That's fair, but it'd be interesting to see, man. I mean, how far into the show are we? You said 2 episodes to drop for Daredevil.
No, we're like 4 episodes in, 4 or 5. We're like halfway through the season.
Halfway through, I gotta catch up, man. I gotta catch up. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, brother, you were about. I thought you were watching it.
I was going to, man. It's a long story, but yeah, I need to catch up. I will catch. I promise.
Oh shit!
On my nephew's life, I will catch up.
But yeah, great show so far. No notes, honestly. I think it's just been. I don't ever want to say perfect until the show's over with, but I can't think of any issues that I have with it for real.
Okay, cool. And they did tease that Daredevil special presentation movie thing.
Come on, for the Punisher?
Yeah, for the Punisher.
I mean, they mentioned Frank in an earlier episode in regards to using a safe house that he had, but I think he's pretty much like out the way. I don't think we'll see Frank in this season, which honestly makes sense because of
separate thing he has. Okay.
Yeah, I think in his special we'll probably see it'll take place right after the end of Born Again. But I doubt we see him make an appearance in this season just because you already have a stacked cast that's going to make an appearance in Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. All the Defenders being back, and then they're more than likely going to bring out. I feel like Elektra's going to make an appearance as well, just because.
That's Oh, no, yeah. I'm sorry. I was thinking Jennifer Garner. You mean the Elektra from the show?
No. I mean the new Elektra for that. I can't remember the actress's name right now. Sito, could you help me out with that? The actress's name that played Elektra in the Daredevil series from Netflix.
The last time we saw her, she was literally being put into that because the hand had her
being revived.
Yes. Okay.
She was becoming the traditional Elektra we're used to seeing. She's like
super hardcore.
A zombie, I guess. A revived. She's not a zombie per se. She was dead, but not dead. Elodie Young. So I'm pretty sure she's coming back in regards to that whole thing.
I hope so.
Because
she's a bomb actor. We'll
see how it goes. Especially if the hand is going to be a bigger thing. I feel like they'll probably. I think they're setting up for Shadowland personally.
Yeah.
With his suit being black and red, and then him being a lot more aggressive as of late, and how he's approaching taking people out. I could see that being a thing, especially after seeing Mr. Negative in the Spider-Man trailer. Now he works. I can see. I don't know. It could just be me reaching and hoping and praying and pulling my fucking do my best rendition of New Rock Stars, but we'll see how that goes.
Conspiracy theories? Nah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Daredevil Born Again. You have any other comments, concerns on that?
I mean, the footage I have seen, you're right. The suit he's wearing, it definitely looks bomb ass. I'm here for it. It is very Shadowlands, kind of tipping his hand towards that. I hope they do bring Elektra back. She was awesome in the show. So yeah, that'd be dope to watch. And I don't have I had a brain fart as far as Jennifer Garner. I'm sorry, that movie. The last time we saw was that movie. That was terrible. It was offensively bad. I saw it in the theater. I was so mad. God, I was so mad. But yeah.
You know what? That's a guilty pleasure movie for me.
No.
The special effects in that movie.
Daredevil, not Daredevil. The Elektra movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Really? That's a guilty pleasure movie for me.
What happened to you, man?
My granddad had that on DVD. One of the coolest characters I've ever seen was from that movie, the tattoo guy.
I know,
or his tattoo.
So yes, that's the problem. It was squandered. It was such a cool, dope ass character, and I was like, why'd they waste him? Why'd they waste him? But,
it was again. I can admit it's a horrible movie. It's a guilty pleasure, fun movie for me. I think the choreography was okay, and Jennifer Garner was just hot, bro. I was a kid. Jennifer Garner was fine.
She was hot. She was
hot. Bad. She's still bad.
And you know what?
I love seeing her and fucking and Jennifer Love. You would be a little thicker and a little older age. I'm like, all right, y'all. See y'all. Y'all got that healthy weight on you. You mothers now. I like that.
You mothers now. You.
Y'all look healthy. Y'all look.
You're old enough now to appreciate a mother. That's even better. But our producer pointed out, I completely forgot that Jennifer Garner was actually in Deadpool Wolverine, and she actually looked pretty good in that as Elektra. I was like, that's I forgot all about that, honestly. Not bad. Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, shout out to her, shout out to them. Moving on into a show that hopefully you've seen. I think we owe for 2 now for shows you've seen. The Boys. The Boys recently, the Boys are back in town, y'all. We saw 2 episodes that were recently dropped, And I'm so excited because this is supposed to be the finale, right? This is supposed to be like the last season, isn't it?
It says final season. It says final season.
Yeah. So I'm like, they're moving kind of fast for things. And I'm also like, okay, I know for a fact we're going to see Jared Padalecki at some point in this season, and we're supposed to be seeing the actor playing Castiel.
That's right. I heard about that.
Yeah, they're bringing all of them back in. So thus far, I think it's been a couple of days. I don't think this is a crazy spoiler, but Soldier Boy is back because you see it in the trailer that he's coming back. So he gets brought back in the second episode, and he's cool as hell. Now, what happens to him going further on, I don't know, because some stuff happened. I won't give too many spoilers as far as that goes, but this is an interesting season because I think we're finally starting to see the deconstruction of Homelander. And we've already been seeing it from the entire show up until this point, but we're approaching the aspect where there's a moment in the second episode where Homelander is trying to understand why Yui is such a loved character, why people keep risking their lives and going above and beyond for Yui, like from Victoria Newman to Starlight to Butcher. Why do people like you so much? Why do people keep risking life and limb for somebody who he sees as so mediocre and inadequate? And Yui said this thing that really rung true, and you could tell it really hit him. He was like, because I would do the same thing for them. Yeah. And they cut right after that. I'm like, ooh, that was a really fucking good place to cut, because you saw it hit him in his face in regards to how he saw things, and it left. And I think not too long after that is when he kind of was spiraling out around the idea that I think that's the central theme for this season, for him in particular, is that everyone leaves him. Everyone that either shows him any love either dies or they just turn against him. So he's just always by himself. Yeah. And that's something that he's kind of fighting with this season. So I'm curious as to like how that's going to all come to his head at the end of the season when he dies at some point, because we do know he's going to die at some point. Right. And this is definitely a season where they're finishing off character arcs, because there's a lot of characters you can see like it's starting to get to the end of all the prior seasons building up in regards to the journeys they've been on up until now.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you're 100% right. It is very interesting to watch. I love the idea. I didn't even think about it until this season, how essentially there's a yin and a yang to, obviously there's yin and yang between Butcher and Huey, but there's also yin and yang between Huey and Homelander. Homelander is a being of all power that no one likes. Huey's a person of no power that everyone kind of likes. So it's kind of, it's interesting. It's interesting to watch Homelander pretty much openly envy Huey. It's a wild scenario for that to kind of play out. In the context too, as far as why he asked him that question, as far as why does everyone like you, and he says, because I would do the same thing for them. That's literally because he's getting ready to be executed, and all these supers, or not all of them, but some supers, and mostly people are willing to risk their lives to save Huey and some other people too. So it's kind of like it's not just like we're casually friends. Like, no, I'm going to risk my life for you. And then with Homelander in the same episode, in the first episode, you see that anyone that's near him, their heart's beating faster, and he can hear it too. He knows for a fact that everyone that's around him is afraid of him, that no one likes him. It's tearing him apart. So I have all that power in the world and have no one like you. What's the point? Essentially, you're alone. You're an island. So it's a very interesting idea. One of the things you mentioned, Soups, is the idea that it's kind of endgame for all the characters as far as them all having their arcs. Are we doing some light spoilers, or not really getting into spoilers that much?
Okay, so here where to put in the show, y'all. For people that have not seen the series, pause it here, go watch these episodes, because again, if you haven't watched them by now, what the hell are you doing? And come back here, because there is like one spoiler thing too I want to get into in regards to one character for the boys. Yeah. But again, I want to give you guys this like early warning, like pause it here, go watch the show, then come back to the video. But you've been warned. Go ahead. What you got? Okay.
So my personal favorite moment from the first episode of the season was obviously it was when A-Train, to show how full circle being said. Yeah. Okay. How full circle being gone, where he of course made the sacrifice to save Huey, ironically enough, and then while he's running away from Homelander, he sees an innocent person standing in the streets, and he goes out of the way to make sure he doesn't hit that person.
It's the spin stuff.
Yes.
The Allen Iverson spin.
And the thing is, remember, all this kicked off in the first 5 minutes of the first episode when he blasted through Huey's girlfriend, and then now to see him go out of his way while he knows if he slows down, the Homelander will catch up to him and kill him, and he's still willing to do that for this random innocent person. And he does get off by Homelander. So it's cool to see him. It's tragic, of course, but it's still cool to see him actually kind of to go full circle that way as far as a character. That's a true character arc that he had, that A-Train.
I will say, it annoyed me a little bit because that was a clean ass spin. I'm like, why are you fumbling all the way on the ground? Like you should have got that should have been a clean spin. You should be able to keep going off of that. Why the hell are you falling into the woods? But the way that sequence of events ends is something that also plays into because it seems like they're setting up a couple different like subplots, not really a subplots for Homelander, but like things that he's going to have to deal with in this season emotionally. And another one of those is the fact that he is mad that everyone's afraid of him, which is so genius. And again, there are going to be classes taught about this character and how to write evil characters going forward, because the fact you've had an entire series built up to where this character has been an unpredictable, like comedically evil villain where he's killing people on a whim and he's always imposing physically in a scene and always making people sit on the edge of their seats and fucking clench their butt cheeks whenever he's around. Now it's getting to a point to where he's mad that people are responding in that way after you've been trying to build up. You wanted people to be afraid of you this entire time, but now you're seeing what the result of that looks like, to where like he can hear, and then his powers goes into that because he can hear people's heartbeats going off really fucking fast. Yeah. And the thing I thought was so genius was showcasing how we get into that moment to where A-Train is being confronted by him, and A-Train's like, I don't know why I was ever scared of you. You're such a small man, and his heartbeat isn't going. Because initially I thought it was going to be the most gruesome death possible. But I think because of the fact that he wasn't afraid of him, that led to Homelander kind of give him like a quick death, like right away. He didn't rip him limb from limb. We've seen Homelander even in that episode, like kill people in some gruesome ways before, just for the fun of it. But with A-Train, he was just like, we're just gonna snap your neck, quick little neck snap, because he feels so defeated. He knows that at the end of the day, A-Train was right. And even if you get into the later in that episode where he's sitting on A-Train's coffin, he's musing to himself about how important A-Train was to him and how highly he looked up to him and how competent he was. But then if you remember in the prior seasons where A-Train was still kind of evil, he was poking at him for being fat. He was saying how incompetent he was. Like his entire perspective on him did a full 180 because he stood up to him. Yeah. So it's that whole aspect of the thing. It's so interesting seeing like a narcissist have full power with everyone afraid of him. Like you have people that vie for power and strength, dream to have the kind of power that Homelander has, and then you're in a scenario now where somebody has their wildest dreams. They are all powerful, and no one can fuck with them for the most part. And what that does to somebody.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. You're right, though. He did very much so. He was always deriding and mocking A-Train in earlier seasons, and of course, once he stood up to him, he actually shows respect to him finally. Also, earlier in the episode, or is after that episode, or no, I think it's the previous episode, he said the same thing to Homelander. I'm sorry, to Butcher. Butcher said, Butcher, I respect you. You're the one person I actually respect as far as an opponent, more or less. And Butcher has no powers either. Well, he kind of actually got powers, but the idea is...
Now he's kind of busted now, yeah.
Yeah, he's broken. But the idea is Butcher, when he had no powers, stood up to him. He was never afraid of Homelander. He always stood up to him. He always told him the truth to his face. That kind of stuff, and he actually genuinely respected that. He actually genuinely respected that. So you're 100% right. Homelander feels so like lied to by everyone. So anytime someone actually is forthright with him, isn't afraid of him, talks to him straight, he can't help but idolize him for it, more or less. He's very much, his power has alienated him from everyone he's ever met, everyone he's ever known, everyone from the people the lab rats that raised him, to the woman who's breastfeeding him later on, to his teammates.
The other woman that's breastfeeding him later on.
To other yeah. So it's a crazy thing. It's a weird. I can't relate to that as far as having all power in the world and being feared by people. But I guess the idea is that scenario as far as being so powerful and never being loved by anyone. It's a weird dimension. I can't. Yeah.
It comes across in the same scenario that if you remember back in the day, how Michael Jackson. There's like a video of him renting out an entire supermarket and like hiring actors to play regular people so he could understand what it feels like to be a regular person in a supermarket and shopping for groceries. It comes across that similar thing of like, you have so much power that no one will ever treat you as a regular person. And you vie for that connection and that intimacy because you never know if somebody actually likes you for you or if they're just doing things out of fear or out of wanting to get something out of you. And it's interesting. It's interesting in that regard. It's the whole idea of absolute power corrupting absolutely, but in Homelander's case, like he's right to the core.
Oh yeah, he's born that way. But that's the same thing too. I know you're not the biggest Superman fan, even though I call you Soups. But that's pretty much Superman's biggest dream is to be mortal, be a normal person, not to have all the powers in the world. That's what he wants. So it's kind of the same idea. It is all that power does alienate you. It puts you on an island. So yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm. And so this has been a dope season so far. It's an amazing season so far. Jensen Ackles has been great as Soldier Boy again. Everyone, it seems like this. It's like this is the season that everybody's on a suicide mission between Starlight, Kimiko. It's like everybody's like, yeah, I'm going out in the blaze of glory. I'm trying to be done here, which makes sense based. Oh, go ahead.
No, my bad. Go ahead. Go on.
Oh no, because it makes sense based off the comic. Because like the last, I think 3 issues of the comic was essentially Butcher. Like they killed Homelander, they beat Vought, but Butcher was essentially the final boss at the end of the series, and he left this. I think he left like this journal that we were essentially getting like Yui reading his journal out, and Yui had to end the show killing Butcher at the end of The Boys.
Yeah, maybe we should get too much into spoilers if they.
Brother, the comic has been out for how long now? I'm not worried about spoiling a comic that's been around this long.
That's fair.
Granted, also as well, I don't even know if they're going to adapt this because they've changed so much stuff from the show to the comic, so I don't even know what they're going to adapt.
Yeah, I don't know because Hugh doesn't have any powers anymore. I don't know. It'd be interesting if they do have it where, I mean, it almost would make sense in some level if Huey does have to put down Butcher. That's kind of the way it's set up. I don't know.
Yeah, because in the comic, Butcher was like, he finished Homelander, but was also on the same tip of like, all supes must die. Mm-hmm. So he was going on this murdering spree, and then Huey had to be like, yeah, I can't let you do this.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, Butcher's already a horrible person. He's not a, I mean, we just saw him, spoiler alert again, we saw this off his dad at the beginning of this season in a way too. So he's already past gone. What I want to mention, that you mentioned Kimiko real quick. Kimiko, it was so wild watching her, like her character start talking and stuff, and she doesn't talk. She talks faster than me. I was like, yo, this girl is awesome. She's on one. This is dope. So it kind of threw me off guard there.
And it's dope because she talks about where she learned to speak English. She was like watching a lot of TikTok and a lot of like social media shit. So you can tell her language and how she's talking is reflecting that. And in moments where she wants to be sincere and get things across, she goes back to signing things to Frenchie. Yeah. I'm like, again, this is just amazing fucking writing and a layered level. And you can tell there's like a team of people in here always pitching these dope ideas that you can just pull together into one cohesive, great narrative. Yeah. So again, this has been another show where it's just been amazing. And I have like not too many issues with it. Like there's not even too many things I can nitpick for the most part outside of just enjoying it. And that's been most of the shows we've talked about, from Daredevil to Maul to this. So far early on, they've been hidden. And we got one more show to talk about here in a bit that has perceived issues that we talked about in the prior episode. But for the most part, everything's been hidden.
It's still hidden. I mean, yeah, let's be honest, this too. We are so spoiled now as blurs and nerds in general that are the bar is so much higher for quality than it once was. I mean, there was some shit back in the day, Soups. I literally saw the Spawn movie with Michael Jai White. I was like, this is okay. It's pretty cool. It's not good. That movie's not good at all. It's terrible. But that's how low the bar was at one time. So yeah, let's keep it in perspective.
But yeah, that's pretty much all that I have to say about that in particular. For when it comes to The Boys, do you have any other thoughts before we move on to the last thing?
Yes, one last thing. Whose beard game do you think is stronger, Butcher's or Soldier Boy?
Soldier Boy's just gonna clean, brother. I ain't gonna lie. Soldier Boy seems a lot more upkept in my mind. Plus, I think just Jensen Ackles looks kind of clean. I ain't gonna hold you, but the brother got it.
So here's the thing then: MM, a Mother's Milk, or Soldier Boy beard game.
Ooh, boy, MM, he's still clean with it though. He's still. Granted, I'm biased. Black man beards, I think just look a little bit. I think we look. It's different. It's different in regards to like the 4C and the texture and whatnot. But it's between Mother's Milk and Jensen Ackles for me for top beard games in the show.
I'm going to MM. I'm saying MM's the top beard game, but that's me. Yeah,
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Moving into the final show being that of Invincible, the show that's been around and out the longest. I think we only have 3 episodes left, maybe 2 or 3. We're near the end of it. And we are in the heat of the Viltrumite War, and things have been interesting. Things have been fun. The last episode, I think everybody got their wish to get this. They got to see the living rug come back, and he has been loving the blood-soaked battlefields he's been able to be on. We've been seeing Alan and Tech Jacket also do their thing, and we finally got to see Nolan be a father. It was so great to see him bond with Oliver and do that. 'Cause I think in the comics, I don't think it was as long as they stretched out to be in the show. I think it was a couple pages for the most part. He time skipped in my mind, but I could be wrong.
from what I heard, I haven't read the comic. From what I heard, it was stretched out. Also, the spoilers for that as well. Oliver didn't in the comics. From what I heard, I haven't read it, but I heard Oliver didn't hear Nolan pretty much call his mama an act. Said she was nothing.
Yeah, he wasn't even there.
So Oliver in this show did, and he's like, how dare you say my mom is nothing, man? My actual biological mom. Fuck you for that, kind of thing. So it's that's a nice change too. So Nolan had to do some. Nolan has a lot to make up for, basically.
Yeah, it's a story I can personally connect with. The idea of like you deify your father in your mind for a certain point, and then find out as you get older, oh, he ain't shit. But in Oliver's great case, he had a chance to have that second chance with a better version of it. Is that whole scenario of like when you have siblings, younger siblings, and they do something that you would normally get whooped out the frame for, but your parents are more kind with them because your parents are now like different people have grown a little bit and got past all that anger and shit.
100%.
Like Oliver's getting the best version of Nolan that Mark never got.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Well, at least he never got. I think he got most of it growing up. At least when he got turned 18, things got different. But for the most part, they had a great childhood.
It was a lie. So Mark had a lie, but it wasn't the real thing. Oliver's getting an actual genuine.
Well, maybe I don't know because I know Nolan talked about it how like Earth changed him and that became him. He became a different person on Earth until he had to get reactivated. So I think in a way that was him. That was just a different version of him, and he like switched back once Mark turned 18.
That's getting deeper. That's getting really deep. Yeah, he says getting reactivated, almost like Manchurian Candidate style. But yeah, that's as far as what is the real Nolan? What is that actually who he actually is? Is he a person?
I think the Earth Nolan was more in line with who he actually is, the individual, and who he grew to be. And that Viltrumite code, that programming was just something that you just can't get rid of. And he had to, he snapped back to reality and realized, oh shit, I have a duty to do for my people. Mm-hmm. And then went into Nazi sand mode.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, there's no denying that Nolan definitely did. I mean, they show a flashback when Nolan's beating up Mark in the end of the season finale for season 1, where he's beating up Mark into the cave, into the mountain. And he has a flashback seeing, seeing little Mark run around the bases playing baseball when he was a little kid, and it hits him. You see that it genuinely hits him. There's no denying he genuinely cares about his son. He flies off. He does care about him. Yeah, that is true. I feel like he was doing everything he could, trying to hold on to that anger and that hate that the Viltrumites have, but it wasn't quite there. He was trying to use everything he could to pull it out of himself. It wasn't quite there. So that's probably true. He is the real Nolan is changed. Debbie did change him, even though she says he failed. I don't think she definitely did. It was a little murky. Yeah. So
let me ask you, there's a particular character there's been a lot of conversation around in regards to people being dissatisfied with his portrayal, and that is Grand Admiral, I almost called him Thrag. Yeah, people feel as though that he is a little bit soft. I saw a post saying that he was quote unquote bitch made. Yeah, people are not rocking with Thrag. They feel like Thrag is a little soft serve so far in the show. How do you feel about Thrag so far?
So I did have the mispleasure, well, not mispleasure, but I've seen some spoilers as far as some things he does later on in the comics. So I know how baller that dude is. But as far as purely off of, I think we've seen him primarily in 2 or 3 episodes, kind of little snippets here and there. He has seemed, even when Conquest showed back up in our first intro to him, we have Lee Pace voicing him. No offense to Lee Pace, but Lee Pace isn't trying to bring a hardcore gravitas voice.
Yeah.
He was very soft on Conquest. Then the next time we see him in action during a war, he's not throwing any hands. He's literally like doing everything he can to get the skull of their old world leader. And he seems very almost like kind of soft, like, oh my gosh, I had to get this skull. Everything else is over. It's like, there's a war going on, dude. Fight him. Throw some hands. So it does seem right now in his limited purview, like he doesn't really seem like that much of an actual of a baller. If the only perception you have of this cat is Lee Pace voicing him wearing some some Doflamingo gaudy ass cape with all kinds of feathers on it, and he's going after a skull as opposed to throwing hands with anybody. And then also he tells them all to retreat. They all retreat because of him. It does seem pretty soft. I get it, but I know he's not. But it's the way he's been perceived so far or portrayed. It's like, yeah, I get it. I get where they're coming from.
I think it's a thing of patience. I think, granted, they gave him a Thanos build up for an introduction, And even into your point, like the first episode where you see somebody like Conquest like really bow the knee or bend the knee to him, like he's like, damn, if this crazy ass dude is bending the knee to him, he has to be fucking badass. I think we'll get there. I think it's one of those situations where he hasn't snapped quite yet. I think we'll probably get an episode where they'll break the skull and they'll like break him and he'll just kind of snap because he has nothing left and he realizes he's kind of his back is against the wall and he'll start having to do things himself. We'll probably get something. I think that's where we get a lot of differentiation between the actual Viltrumite War from the comics and what they're going to do in the show. Because there is a portion in the show where like the ending of the Viltrumite War is very interesting in how it operates. Because there's kind of like we'll say a pause in it. That's interesting. That's an interesting dynamic before we get into like finishing up things with Rag fighting Nolan and Mark and whatnot. But it's going to be interesting. I think the only issue I have with them is I do think I'm like give them time because they haven't really focused on him a lot. A lot of the early show has been focusing on building up the army and building up, and we're finishing up or at least forwarding the arcs of Nolan, Oliver, and Mark for the most part, and also like revving up for what I consider the best arc of the series later on for like the next season. They were doing a lot of setup in the first couple episodes. And I think now we're hitting that climax where things are about to start ramping the fuck up and where next episode on is you're going to see Thrag on 10. Or you're going to get to see him fighting the rug that everybody loves to see, that fight and everything. But I do believe my biggest issue is probably the voice. I think, not saying Lee Pace isn't a good actor, but when I see the character, and from reading him in the comics, I always pictured this like James Brolin almost like voice. Not John. Is it John Brolin? I'm tripping on what's his first name? Is it
Josh Brolin?
Josh Brolin. I went through all the J's.
No, James Brolin is the person. It's his dad in real life. But yeah.
Okay, but Josh Brolin, that bass and that graveliness that you see that kind of exudes power, like a what's buddy's Michael Clark Duncan type of like bass in a voice. Like that's what I expect out of Thrag when you see him in the aura he has. So when you get Lee Pace and his voice is it's not soft by any means, but it's not as intimidating and like commandeering as somebody like them or like a Keith David. You kind of just expect more.
Yeah, it's not tough. I mean, the thing is too, because like you said, when our boy Jeffrey Dean Morgan, aka Conquest, bends the knee to him. In other stories, you would have had, for example, Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, right? There's a part where a guy walks up to him. He's like, "Oh, I got this stuff. I think I failed. I think he failed at Bane in some way." And Bane's like, basically, shoot him. Then you go after him in the water too. So he makes some kind of a threat to him off rip in the sewers, right? And it's very intimidating and powerful. Thrag's introduction is having Conquest bend the knee before him, and him just staying there kind of like very vanilla. It wasn't anything. It didn't seem all that. This is our first time that the regular audience has seen this cat and he ain't doing shit. He's just kind of staying there very, very calm, and it wasn't quite setting him up that well. So I think if they had, like you said, a more Michael Clark Duncan type of voice, or having him do something a bit more could you imagine though? I know it's in the comic book, but imagine if Conquest, this dude that we built it to be a massive powerhouse that almost destroyed Eve and Mark and everything else. If he's been in the knee and then Thrag just like kind of like with one quick little move chops his head off like nothing, it's like that's a powerhouse. It's very intimidating kind of a way of putting him over in wrestling terms. They didn't do that at all. They put him down so much, but that may work in their.
I don't think so. I think they put him over. I think him bending the knee and like snap and like sniveling in the presence of him, for me, is like putting him over. Like somebody who was so dead set for murder and treated Mark like a bitch and had no kind of remorse for somebody like Nolan, who to that point we saw being like the strongest Viltrumites, or even with Anissa, to see him literally being like, I apologize, I know I'm worthless, please kill me as a mercy to myself, and as a like he is prostrating himself in front of this man. For me, that, at least in my opinion, that's enough for me to put him over versus him just straight up killing him. Especially when we know we need him to be this thing for Mark later on, as far as Mark finally like getting the win on Conquest.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I'll go back and forth because you're right. He definitely was like borderline whimpering and wherever he's pressing very much in front of him. But it wasn't. He still didn't. Once he spoke, once he stood up there, it seemed almost like a little spoiled child, almost, as opposed to like a powerful god. But I see what you're saying, though. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But even in the scene with I'm blanking on the other Viltrumite's name, the guy with the robot eye, where he's like, "Yeah, bro, we can't get on that planet, bro. It's too tough." And he looks up, he's like, "Is it tough?" He's like, "You know what? I got you. I'm gonna go get that done on some Darth Vader shit. I'm just, yeah.
he says the coldest line. His name is Craig.
Krieg, yeah. Krieg, yeah.
But he drops the dopest line. He says, "Your words, our deeds." It's like, yo, that's dope. Your words, our deeds. That's a kingpin. But again, it's still. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what it is, man. But it is an outcry from people, especially fans who haven't read the comics. This guy does seem soft. I hadn't heard bits of it, but I get it. I'm like, yeah, this does seem kind of like. It does seem
part of it too is the Invincible fandom, and also anime fans have this. We've talked about it before with the animation stuff in the prior episode. People that are, we'll say, either hardcore comic book fans or pretend to be hardcore comic book fans, they want to see on screen exactly what they saw in a video from Comic Explained or from any other creator that covered the story. They want to see that stuff directly on the page. But this, in my opinion, is what makes this show better than most other animated adaptations we see as far as comics go. And even better than a lot of anime that I've seen is because they're able to take some creative liberties in making and improving upon the source material. And I think, in my opinion, building up to Thrag, because it makes it seem as though he is very much so like a Larfleeze or like a Jason Voorhees, and how he's really like dead set on holding onto the skull. When we get into an episode where they're like in a fight, maybe trying to end things out, and somebody cracks that skull, and you see like fucking Super Saiyan 2 Gohan snap. He's like, because if he's holding on to this thing so much is important to him, and you break that, what does he turn into after that? What is that unhinged version of Thrag looks like? And I think that's where we're going to get going forward.
Yeah, and I don't. You know,
now if they don't do that, then I stand corrected and cool, call them soft. But I do think that build up into that badassery would be a little bit more effective, because at that point it feels like it's a little redundant, because I think we've done the whole, all right, introduced to Viltrumite, he's stronger than anyone you've seen up until this point, he almost kills Mark or Nolan or whatever it may be, and you keep it pushing.
Yeah.
Because we've done it with like a handful of Viltrumites now. I think the difference in showcasing like, okay, he's not mentally well, will give him that extra little bit of differentiation between him and the other Viltrumites of why he's up there, because he's the crazy version of a Viltrumite, I guess. I
guess the thing is too, is I don't quite see him as mentally unstable or unwell. It seems like I get the idea that their skull is in honor of their leader that passed away, that was betrayed by the Grand Betrayer, what have you. So to me, Thrag just doesn't quite seem, he isn't quite deranged enough. It doesn't quite seem soft.
What mentally sane person do you feel would hold around a skull like that, though?
Well, I guess it's a cultural thing. It's the same thing as holding the ashes onto like a late one that you love, like obviously a family that passed away.
Sure, like I can see that.
But again, I know the comics. I know some things that Thrag does that's crazy as far as him showing how powerful it actually is.
But this is also a culture that's not big on sentimentality, though.
True, except for that, it seems like the one thing they do have, they mentioned before in the season, how they honored that great one as far as that leader that was betrayed. They have a statue for him. That's like the only being they ever give a shit about was that one guy. So maybe that's it. But I think also that you mentioned a really good point too, is the idea of like building up towards something, as opposed to you just seeing this all-powerful being from the jump and then there's no way to go from there. Kind of building towards something, or you have like a little surprise where you're unsuspecting, you're unassuming of this cat. Then once he gets a chance to finally unleash who he actually truly is, it's like, oh my God, it's even scarier in that regard.
Especially in a scenario where it seems like they're on a back burner, where it seems like right now that the coalition of planets have all the strongest people on their side. They've been able to take out Viltrumites. They've been able to, they have a gun that can one tap them. Like if they have him on the back foot and he's able to fucking snap and single-handedly turn the tide of the war, I think that would make him just that much more of a player in the game, in my mind, at least.
I agree. I think that's what they kind of do. Also, one thing is, it reminded me of, you remember Ozai's introduction in The Last Airbender. So the way it was, you didn't really see that much of him. You kind of see more in the shadows. So he didn't seem soft, at least not to me, because you don't see much about him. And you heard a lot about him as far as he gave Zuko his scar in his eye. He had no patience for that. He dogged out he beat his older brother Iroh to become king and everything else. So it's little things. Even though you didn't see much of him, they made it work as far as him being in the shadows of the background. There are different ways to introduce somebody without making them seem lesser than. But I get what you're saying as far as him being somewhere in the middle, somewhat different, and it's fine. I'm not knocking it too much. I do think, in my opinion, you're right though. We can't go off of the visuals we have from the comic books, but the voice acting from Lee Pace may not be the best. It may be.
Yeah, I don't think he's the best choice for that, in my opinion.
Yeah, it didn't help him out. That's one thing I'll say. That's just
But yeah, so we'll see how things go. And also, let me correct myself because I know the comic book nerds are going to come from my throat. I just thought about it. It's not Grand Admiral Thrawn. It's Grand Regent Thrawn.
Yeah, Regent. That's right.
Not Thrawn. Fucking Thrag. Jesus Christ.
It is Grand Admiral Thrawn, but that's Star Wars.
Yeah. I'm getting my fandoms confused. But yes, Grand Regent Thrag. But yeah, we'll see how things play out in this season, and also where things go. Because again, they're very much so setting up for my favorite arc in the show that I'm excited for. That will make this, in my opinion, seem like an afterthought. But it's only like built up this much because it's like the original plot, like a plot for the entire series. But yeah, and again, they're gonna Invincible. Once this Invincible series is over with, we got the Cape spinoff. Apparently, we're going to get a spinoff for Tech Jacket as well. There's going to be a lot of more shows coming out of this universe, so y'all can expect to see a lot more Invincible going into the future. Because that boy Robert Kirkman is trying to get to the bag, boy.
Yeah, Kirkman's rich as shit. But they were trying to do a Dinosaurus spinoff as well, coming up as well. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which, how much of that goes well? I mean, obviously the writers would be great, but how much people care about that stuff without Mark being involved in it directly? I'm interested to see.
Well, let me ask you a personal question, you and your beard. Do you think that Mark is the actual driving force, the most compelling character in the show, honestly?
Most compelling character, no, but I do think he's the vehicle and the medium that we get through the show with.
He's our avatar.
Without him, I don't know how you keep the show moving along.
So, I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying. But it's, for me, I think I told you I noticed this before. For me, the most compelling characters are like Debbie and like Nolan. Even Alan, seeing the world through their eyes, like the Debbie. I mean, that scene between Debbie and Nolan talking last episode, I was like, this is baller. This is amazing, right? This is fantastic, and that's more compelling to me than anything Mark has ever done with his girlfriends or whatnot. So it's kind of like, I get what you're saying. We need Mark as far as that engine goes. He's the plot motor, but as far as actual like emotional motor and everything else, it's not. I
think it could work in regards to other people. I think the issues you'd have is one, interest in regards to people caring about the show after the fact. Because I think with characters that they're talking about spinning off, it'd be Tech Jacket, Dinosaurs, two characters people haven't had time to really connect with at all yet, for the most part. Also, you're going to have characters that don't have a lot of entry, because if you go into Capes as well, which is the spinoff comic, I don't think we've been introduced to most of those. I haven't read all the Capes or most of Capes, so I'm not sure which characters are already introduced or not. But to your point too, I do think Mark is what makes this show not feel disconnected, because I think there's so many like mini stories going on in different parts of the show, and the only thing that makes things not feel like they're like disconnected and kind of all over the place is the fact that Mark's involved either directly or indirectly in everything. Even like the C comedy plots for like the Mummy or whatever it may be, he's involved at a certain point. So like you have to have Mark around to kind of be the guiding factor. Maybe they switched it up. It could be Oliver. That'd be a cool thing to see. Like, it's before they get to the distant future at the end of the comic where things are done with. Maybe showing like, okay, how did Oliver develop as a hero? That could be the next thing in my mind. I could see that being a cool thing. Yeah. Or again, maybe it could be Tech Jacket. I think you just need to show a lot more of her in the show to get people like endearing with her. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I'm here for it. I mean, I think I get what you're saying as far as Mark being the like anchor or kind of guiding light for the overall story. That's the stories need to have something like that. I get you. Interesting. I'm here for it.
But yeah, that's great show so far. Not too many notes, if any, in regards to Invincible thus far. But y'all keep me posted on how you feel about the show so far. Again, we've covered Daredevil, Invincible, The Boys, Shadow of Maul. So we've covered a lot of shit in this episode. It's been funny enough, we got it done in like a little bit over an hour too. I thought this was gonna go like an hour and a half down there, but we were efficient with it this time around. Also, so. Right. You got any other thing to promote or talk about before we get ready to close out?
Yeah, man. Please chime in on your personal thoughts for the beard game and The Boys. Who do you think has the best beard game? Charlie and I are doubling down and saying Mother's Milk has the best beard game. Let us know what you think. I'd probably say Soldier's Boy is number 2. Soldier's Boy is pretty fierce.
I ain't mad at that. Hey, who knows? Jared Padalecki may have a fire one when he comes in.
Has he ever had a beard in Supernatural? Did he ever have one?
No, he had one in it was not Walker, Texas Ranger. What was that?
Yeah, there was one. He was Walker. He wasn't Walker.
Walker, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he had a beard in that. I thought I remember him having a beard in that.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong. But yeah, y'all, this has been another episode of the Then and Now podcast. Again, if you guys have not tapped in, please tap into what we have to offer over at Echelon Graphic Novels, our comic company that we are all co-owners of. We have a lot of stuff on the horizon, so be tuned in for that, and also this future episodes of the pod. If you made it this far into the pod, it means you liked it, so like the video to help promote it and get it further. And if you're watching this in digital, or not digital, but in mobile version, hype the video. Hype points are the new big currency for making sure that channels succeed and grow going forward. So please, if you have them, give us the hype points. You just go to the description or comment section of a video on mobile, scroll from right to left, and you'll see them right there. But again, this has been another episode of the Then and Now podcast. I am Captain Diesel, and this is Lelouch, not Lelouch. Oh my God, this is Professor E. King of the Comics, Ethan Murphy. And y'all, remember, forever and always,
You're listening to the Then and Now podcast.
and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.